All right, good morning, everyone, and thank you for making a long trek down into DC to attend this in person, or if you're one of the smart people who's watching in cyberspace, I hope you're comfortable in your fuzzy pink bunny slippers and a hot mug of coffee or tea, whatever else that you enjoy. Appreciate the number of folks who have come down here. I noticed on LinkedIn this morning that when I shared it out, it had over 1,000 views and was still climbing on an almost daily basis, so I know y'all are paying attention. I'm glad the folks in the back have quieted down, because I think this will be an intriguing presentation for you. My folks are up on the upper level. When we get done, if you have fairly detailed questions, they're up on the concourse. I've got 5 of the divisions or programs that are actually contracting for the capabilities there to answer your subject matter expert type questions. All right, next slide, please. All right, so the bottom line up front, I have been counseled by venture capitalists and others, just tell me what you want to tell me and then get off the stage quickly. So I'll be up front. I've got a rise in operating expenses right now due to manpower, licensing, and just a host of other issues going on that are driving it up. So I'm very directly looking for ways to drop down those operating expenses and to reinvest those savings back into more innovative, better capabilities that I can provide to cyber defense service providers, the services, endpoint users, a better quality software product that is more modern than where we're at today. There are too many things going on in the space of cybersecurity for us to stand still, and so I'm trying to harvest cash to do that. My next note, significant areas of potential partnership. I will be very clear. If you're a venture capitalist, if you are a vendor, if you're an original equipment manufacturer, it is no longer good enough for you to have the best point solution, period. I am requiring my folks to deliberately evaluate your ability to integrate into the rest of the hybrid architecture that exists out in our operational forces today and make that one of their criteria. I have too many things within the architecture. There are lots of vendors with great capabilities. There's very innovative things that are occurring within the small business spaces, and I need to be able to pull those in. So your ability to work with others, either through some kind of strategic partnership or coalition or alliance, is going to get you much farther ahead with us in the future. Where does that come to bear? Automation of defenses and machine learning. I can't outman this problem. I have to start investing into machine capabilities. Machines work far faster than a human being who's involved in a decision in the loop. So we are very directly looking at that and integrating it in. I hit the interoperability across the vendors. Identity on the network. Assured identity is one of the things within the portfolio. Mr. Jake Marcellus will follow after me. Once we are through with that innovative research and development activity, he's going to integrate it into the mobility platforms. Mr. Carpenter just spoke about the C2 portfolio moving to a mobile platform as well. That's of high importance to us. Endpoint detect and respond is something that we are looking for contracting opportunities with right now. We're in discussions with DIUX to enter into an OTA through them to provide some kind of capability to prototype or pilot through commands across the Defense Department, anywhere from an enterprise sitting at a desktop to a tactical afloat or tactical forces deployed into Europe or Korea or elsewhere in an army fashion on the ground. So there are some very different tools out there that can accomplish all of them or some of them. That's why we're working through DIUX to find the right solution and potentially multiple solutions. All right, contracting vehicles. Capacity as a service. It's my intent to follow through and reuse the agency contract rather than go directly to the vendors. And expand out as needed or contract compute power, storage, and other devices that we have within the architecture for the things that we currently own and operate. That's both for hardware and software licenses. And I believe the award is, and I'll defer to Mr. Bemmel and his team, sometime in the first quarter of FY18 for the new one. So we'll begin using those contracts as much as possible. Other transactional agreements have been spoken about before today. I am absolutely going to try and use those for those innovative and new products that are coming through to pilot and prototype things that are currently unseen within DoD or general contracts that are available. I'm interested in migrating to the cloud. I recognize that's going to cause a shift in some of the manpower requirements that we have today and how we operate. However, don't fear. There are still system administrators required for cloud for every contract that we've been able to look at, whether it's Amazon, CSRA that we awarded the contract to, or others. So there's still going to be some manpower requirements there. But the ability to deploy out capabilities into the cloud environment rather than send out fielding teams, et cetera, is just too valuable of an opportunity to pass by. All right, next slide, please. All right, cyber defense goals. I believe you have seen these last year, but to reiterate, down at the bottom are DoDIN cyber strategic goals. Establishing that defendable network, again, automatically remediating vulnerabilities and insecure configurations. Too many ways for things to go wrong. Automated patch management is a very good thing, rather than requiring a human in the loop to do that for some of the simpler and more basic applications. I know as a program manager, I had to continually evaluate whether or not I wanted to push a patch out. Some of those will not change in the future, but being able to automate some of those defenses, as I said before, is going to be key. Blocking and cyber speed, known and unknown attacks. We're taking care of some of those things today through zero-day defenses, but we can always get better. Rapidly discovering and hunting for and eradicating attacks that evade the defense. Our cyber defense service providers, cyber protection teams and hunt teams are already active today. We have several cyber protection teams loaned to us from Joint Force Headquarters DoDIN that actually are active on our key cyber terrain right now and hunting through threats and have become pretty effective. However, they also require some very good training solutions for them to come into our cyber terrain and understand how it works and how it evolves. Those are also key things for us to keep in mind as we provide simpler and better solutions to warfighters. Safeguarding information from the insider threat still remains our most likely threat to occur is on the insider, and then providing situation awareness to empower the network defender, which really leads into my next slide. If you could, thank you. Strategic End-State Implementation Plan. This is version 1 of a longer range plan. We're currently working on version 2. I put it up here just to show you the depth of planning that we are going to in hopes that when you look at these, you can think of those different innovative things. If you're a current vendor or OEM and you take a look at them, hopefully that will begin steering your product development shops that are back at your home base to evolve out your current capabilities to provide other key capabilities and things that we haven't seen yet or have not thought of. Perhaps an opportunity for you to do some value engineering back at the house and bring those proposals back to us. Just saying, I think it's good for everybody. So from the upper right-hand corner, at perimeter cybersecurity, I mean, this is our architecture. This is why I alluded back to, I've got a pretty big hybrid architecture full of different vendors that I have to integrate in all the way from the perimeter to the individual endpoints, those laptops, those computers that are sitting within everybody's desk, whether at work or at home, the mobile devices that are becoming prevalent across not just the world, but DoD too, believe it or not, operating at different classification levels. Those have to be integrated in and brought together. Those are different operating systems, different capabilities, different computing platforms that all have to be considered and brought into the fold. The Joint Regional Security Stack are mid-tier or midpoint defenses as the Defense Department or DISA looks at it, perhaps on the perimeter if you're a service or one of the other components within the Defense Department. So JRSS is a big, huge set of servers to operate and maintain, fairly complex. Lots of different vendors in there and very difficult for the staffs to combine together and operate. Great point products. All of them are very good. All of them selected appropriately for what we were asked to do, but we didn't particularly consider it well enough or evaluate well enough. How do you tie in together with the rest of the architecture found at the perimeter or at the endpoint, let alone within the individual stacks themselves? So we're looking for help there. Our joint enablers, PKI, cross-domain solutions as well. Those are key to our interoperability with not just our coalition partners, but with our federal partners within the other departments and the intelligence community as well. And finally, the last two, cyber net ops and cyber situational awareness. These are probably the two areas that combine together best, and that's exactly what we've done. I've made it into a single division, a single program manager, to oversee both of them and to bring together all of the sensors and all of the different systems that pull data together, whether event management logs or presentation upon a screen, et cetera, to try and tie all those disparate pieces of the architecture back together. And that's where I'm headed with those earlier comments. I've got a lot of machines. I got a lot of ways that I can possibly get to it, so I'm looking for innovative solutions to help tie things together and to provide that near real-time situational awareness back to Commander Joint Force Headquarters DoDIN, Commander R Cyber, and others, more than just a tactical. An event occurred down at an individual endpoint, which is what cyber defense service providers do. I need that, but I also need to elevate the game and look for campaigns and threats that are occurring against the Department of Defense. All right, so those are my quick intro slides. That's the bottom line up front. Now we'll get into some different acquisition opportunities throughout the directorate. All right, next slide. I hope Jake is ready to go because I'm cooking along pretty fast. All right, acquisition opportunity, secure configuration management, development operations. This is a manpower contract with our endpoint team, ID3. They are up on the balcony. Todd Gillis is the lead. You'll be able to talk to him more in depth about it. This is how we actually secure the individual endpoint. Lots of development work to be done here, but to help with our CETA support, our scientific engineering technical assistance is what that contract is. The second one, licensing and repurchasing McAfee antivirus, HBSS, currently fielded and deployed, been a workhorse for several years, just a reissuing of that license and providing platinum or tier 3 level support. And the last one on the slide, hardware and software, purchasing Cisco Firepower through a blank purchase agreement. All right, next slide. The event manager, ID6, Cyber Situational Awareness Division, looking for support subject matter experts for this contract. Currently in use for ArcSight is where we're at now, but I'm also looking for other ways to integrate in cyber situational awareness and combine that together with NetOps to provide, as I alluded to before, an understanding of what's currently happening or what might happen across the globe. Advanced Cyber Analytics, this is a software development contract providing audit and attack analysis capabilities against insider and external threats. I think that was one of the questions before. This is the contract that's going to get you there. All right, next slide. Continuous monitoring and risk scoring. This is a GOTS tool that we have written in order to assess the current state of all endpoints and then consolidate it unit by unit across the Defense Department and give them a grade, and we show it to the Deputy Secretary of Defense. So it's a great time. No hurt feelings whatsoever with the software and what we show to everyone. But this is the software development contract to actually go in and do that work. And it's not an easy task, and I'm looking forward to have some vendors come in and take that on. PKI, this is operational and engineering support, technical development support for PKI and the common service provider. Again, capability that has been there for a while, but always in seeking improvement. Some new leadership who are present up on the upper balcony here as well. ACAS, government software development for compliance assessment solutions at the individual endpoint level. All right, next slide. For domain name system, engineering support for DNS protections. In support of Mr. Shower's group, we actually do the protection parts for DNS for the .mil extensions across the DoD within the perimeter division and Acropolis. So this is probably the largest contract that we have going out. It's a fairly large award. Centaur Ops, Acropolis may be the things that you were familiar with hearing from us, but this is the contract to design, develop, support that large set of data warehousing capabilities that we have that form our big data platform. All right, looking for some innovation within the contract to help reduce down operating expenses because it's a fairly big, heavy lift at a couple different locations worldwide, but also on the, I'll say the engineering and development of all the things that go in there. There's a lot of data feeds, there's a lot of software development in addition to all the different hardware pieces that have to be integrated together. All right, next slide, please. For the DISA and OSS, or Operational Support System contract, this is accreditation packages going to small business. This is great work for small business, helping us increase our game with the risk management framework and accredit all the different systems. I think the last time I looked, they had 80 different projects running simultaneously within this division just for operational support systems and pulling through on NetOps. Not all of those 80 projects have an RMF package that go with it. However, they're all impacted and have to be analyzed. Cyber NetOps deploy, develop support contract. We're combining together a couple contracts. We found that it just didn't work very well for us to have some folks designing and the others deploying and sustaining, so combining those two together into a small business set-aside contract being awarded in approximately a year. All right, next slide, cross-domain solutions. This is the engineering support, for CETA support for programs for cross-domain. Often goes unnoticed, but this is what allows us to work well with our allies and multinational information systems. I think Mr. Carpenter talked about a little bit before. Pretty key, critical capability for us. Gateway security engineering support, all of the Fed DMZ gateways at the perimeter, et cetera, another software support contract, and DoD cyber situational awareness analytics. We do have a big data platform. We do custom write all of our code for that right now. This is an area where I've asked Dr. Travis to really step up the game and to write bigger, better, faster analytics under the DevOps contract. We have been doing that for a while, but part of that's been the data feeds that come in and out. So the ability to conduct DevOps and provide DISA Global or Europe or PAC or the Army, and the ability to share back and forth with the services, all the different analytics that we have developed is going to be key for us in the future. All right, next slide, please. Web content filtering, those big massive firewalls that are out at the perimeter, this is the actual engineering and sustainment support services for those. How do you actually tie those in with the rest of an endpoint detect respond capability that we're putting into play? How do you coordinate into the mid-tier at JRSS, knowing that we'll likely have different vendors, or maybe we will have the same vendor? That's what I'm hoping you guys can compete and come help us solve on the CETA support side of the house. And the last one for this slide, DibNet. Whoop, if you go back one, is the Defense Industrial Base Network, helping share threat information across with all of our industry partners. That's what DibNet does. So if you've had a breach, if you're a major contractor, a minor contractor, or a small business, this is what you'd be reporting into to let us know that something occurred, and we'd be sharing information back with you on things that we had seen. All right, thank you. Next slide. Break and inspect for the Joint Regional Support Stack, putting in a capability there. This is both hardware and software. I believe the sources sought is out on GSA now for this contract. Second one, inline IPS, intrusion protection system for JRSS. These capabilities are key for the Navy. They have some capabilities in place now. We're putting them within JRSS so that we'll all be consolidated behind a single stack at the mid-tier JRSS and have like capabilities to make it a true joint information environment. And the last one is the lab stack for JRSS, hardware and software to provide that instantiation just within our labs to fully test out as we change over capabilities. It's replacing some of the equipment that is about to go into life or will in the near future. And I believe this is the last slide next. The joint management team, joint management networking team, the migration team, going out for bid. This is a manpower contract to actually help us deploy and sustain the solutions that are out in the field for JRSS. All right, and next slide is my last one. Subject to your questions.
Colonel Lyttle, is the ACAS opportunity intended to be maintenance focused or more Greenfield focused?
So for ACAS, yes, we currently do have a deployed solution. Could there be some engineering changes and improve upon? Yes, absolutely. I don't anticipate a greenfield approach right now. At the very least, I have to operate what's in the field, but I'd be interested in the solutions that come through.
How can a new, emerging, and innovative cyber technology company be successful quickly with DISA if it does not yet have the required certifications and accreditations, such as DODIN, UC-APL, FIPS, and common criteria? Is having these certifications first a requirement before doing business with DISA?
Sir, you're actually asking a great contracting question that I'm going to have to defer to Mr. Packard and the rest of the Army the contracting team that we have in place for how you get in with this. I believe there's some opportunities to do that. I'd point out Sharon Jones from the Small Business Office, I think, is probably your best advocate for that and learning how to come into DoD and especially into DISA.
And your final question, what is DISA's involvement in assessing and securing operational technologies that interact and support the DoD information systems, technologies, and networks?
So we have our own portion of the cyber terrain to operate and defend. We do work in conjunction with the services pretty heavily through the cyber components, Army Cyber, 10th Fleet, 24th Air Force, to evaluate the technologies and will they work from the actual networking layers. Mr. Showers probably is the subject matter expert for those pieces. We also have other software systems. Global Command and Control System is another one where DISA actually builds that proprietary code and then shares it out, I think, at last count, over 30 different mission partners that reuse the software. So it is, I'll say, mission and product dependent from when you look at that.
Thank you, Colonel.
All right. Thank you, guys.